Hunter Biden sues the IRS, gentlemen. This is what I would call a funny story. Anytime I'm doing the Hunter Biden stories, I always kind of take it as a lighthearted kind of story. You know, this is a guy with privilege, a guy that is going through problems with his addiction, and a guy that's just putting his dad through a lot of heartache. So it's just, you know, it's the tale of everybody's family. You know, it's like, you know, this kind of guy, but it's still funny to me. But go ahead. If I can't see you, but it sounds like somebody wanted to chime in. It's just funny to
Go
me.
ahead, Keen.
No. I was just laughing.
It's lighthearted. Maybe not funny. It's lighthearted to me. But let's play it now. This is CNN just breaking the news about Hunter Biden suing the IRS.
New this morning. Hunter Biden is suing the IRS, saying the agency unlawfully disclosed his tax information and failed to protect his private records. This has been filed days after Biden was indicted on a 3-felony gun charge. And we've also learned he also faces a potential tax charge again as well. CNN's Kara Scannell joins me now with the very latest. Do we have any sense of why Biden is suing now over this? There was a plea deal involving the money he owed for taxes, but now he's suing the IRS.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of a bolder legal strategy by the Biden defense team. And they're filing this lawsuit against the IRS, saying that through their agents, either the two whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, that they disclosed private information and that the IRS didn't do a good job of safeguarding that information. And what they're alleging here is that
are they? It's now. This weekend, you guys can chime in on this if you know. Are they saying? Let me hear that again to make sure I'm understanding what she's saying before I ask the question here.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of a bolder legal strategy by the Biden defense team, and they're filing.
Yeah, are they saying his privacy with the IRS was broken because of the testimony, or they're saying something that happened in the past? Do either of you know that about this story? I know you may not.
I would imagine it would have to be related to the public testimony. Because
right.
How else can you sue the IRS for invasion of privacy? Their whole reason, the reason they exist is to invade people's privacy.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. If any one of us fail in our responsibility to pay our taxes, they'll jump on top of us so fast that we don't even know what happened. I mean, again, the fact that somebody like Hunter Biden's now doing this tells me that he is afraid and he's doing this to deflect.
Filing this lawsuit against the IRS, saying that through their agents, either the two whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, that they disclosed private information and that the IRS didn't do a good job of safeguarding that information. And what they're alleging here is that the whistleblowers went beyond what is accepted under the statute that protects a whistleblower from going forward. So in their lawsuit, they allege these agents' putative whistleblower status cannot and does not shield them from their wrongful conduct in making unauthorized public disclosures that are not permitted by the whistleblower process. In fact, a whistleblower is supposed to uncover government misconduct, not the details of that employee's opinion about the alleged wrongdoing of a private person. So in this lawsuit, they point to a number of public appearances by the whistleblowers and their attorneys, including on CNN, where they're talking about their thoughts about this investigation, that Hunter Biden had received favorable treatment. They also specifically talk about what they say Hunter Biden had in his tax returns. That was that he was taking as personal expenses, but marking them as business expenses, including expenses for prostitutes, for sex club memberships, and for hotel rooms for purported drug.
I mean, you took the deduction. Listen, if you take the deduction, if you claim those as deductions, then you're making that their business. Like I don't see how you can sue for violation of privacy if you deducted them and they were called in to testify.
Right.
What else were they going to do? What were they supposed to do? Not talk about it? Not disclose it? I mean, that they had to. So, I mean, look, I'm not a lawyer, but it seems like a difficult case to win.
Yeah, and the thing is, it could be a case that they're not literally trying to win. Like there's a lot of maneuvering when it comes to the law and attorneys. There's a lot of maneuvering, so they could file something just as a way of a maneuver. This case could all be just a way of bringing attention to this so-called evidence that could be used against them. You get what I'm saying? Like,
it could just be working the clock too. I mean, I have a theory that I floated on my show, the last episode we did with the Hunter gun charge. And this is a prediction that I'm gonna go out on a limb here and make that they might use this Hunter Biden legal drama as an excuse to push Biden out of the race. Because I don't think they can really admit that he's too old and falling apart, because there's just too much reputational damage that the party would suffer for having gaslighted people about it for so long. But I do think there comes a point where if these Hunter Biden charges pile up and drag on long enough, the Biden team might just say, hey, look, this is a distraction heading into an election that we don't think the country can afford. Therefore, in the name of not making this a distraction during the campaign, Biden is going to withdraw. And the compelling thing about using Hunter as an excuse is that they might be able to stretch that excuse thin enough to get Kamala out of the race too, because she's part of the administration. So they might be able to say, look, we just need a clean slate because there's a conflict of interest between this administration and what's going on with the president's son. And so just so that the public is not consumed with this drama during the election, especially given Trump's legal problems, we might just have to pick somebody new altogether, and that's when Gavin Newsom would step in. And I have not been a big believer in the theory that Biden wasn't going to be on the ticket in November of next year. I always thought that as crazy as it sounds, like he's the incumbent, he's their guy, they're going to ride or die with this guy. But as his polling gets worse, as his cognitive state gets worse, as his physical state gets worse, it's harder and harder for me to just envision him being on a ballot.
Yeah.
Not now, but 14 months from now. Don't forget, he's probably going to be worse by then. And this might be the thing they need. This could be, potentially, the perfect excuse they need to get
Go ahead, Kit.
I've actually shared this on my show too. Like, there's a lot of excuses in which the Democrat Party, and again, they're a private institution, can make the excuse of, okay, we have to drop Biden and still have Kamala be their one person to go to, even though she is not popular. Because again, remember, to Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr.'s credit, they both started their campaigns early on before the deadline. So the Democrats got a small window still of finding their next establishment pick. So this with Hunter Biden, as well as Biden's age and so many other things, they can say like, okay, turns out there's so many legal troubles. It doesn't need to be a distraction to the country. This could very well be the excuse that they're looking for to drop Biden and still have Kamala. But I
think the legal excuse they can get, they can probably sideline Kamala using this legal excuse because she's in the Biden administration.
You think
so because she would be in government during the time this is all happening, right? She's not Joe, but she's part of the Biden administration. She's part of his inner circle. They need an excuse that takes care of the Harris problem, because Kamala is a bigger problem than Biden.
True. So she is, but they're trying to really promote her. They're really trying to promote her. I don't mean to cut you off here.
That ain't gonna happen.
I know it's not going to happen. But I remember on Martin Luther King Day in 2019, the Democratic Party was really trying to promote her as the next Obama, as the next Hillary. She's black, she's a woman, and she could do all this stuff and start off with a bang, end off with a fizzle. They might be really trying to do that just to get the sympathy points from the vote blue no matter who crowd. Again, you are probably correct again in the assumption that, again, her numbers are absolutely terrible in comparison to Biden. But again, maybe it's just to save the Democrats less paperwork to do because she's still part of that said administration.
I think the reason they're building Kamala up is in anticipation of Biden being on the ticket, because Kamala's a problem either way, because people are afraid that if Biden wins again, Kamala's going to take over. So they feel a need to build Kamala up to assure people that if Biden can't finish his term, Kamala is able to do the job. So I think that's why they're trying to build her up. I don't think they're trying to build her up to put her on the top of the ticket. There is no one in that party who thinks there is a chance in hell that Kamala Harris can win a national race. Nobody. And so if they can't sideline both of them, then they have to stick with Biden. And the age excuse is not enough to sideline Kamala, Because if they say, well, Biden's too old, he can't run, that means Kamala has to run. So that's no good. That's not good enough. The legal issues and the conflict of interest throughout the administration, not just with Joe himself, but they need an excuse that creates a conflict throughout the entire administration to the point where they can bring in Newsom is who they would bring in. And that could be in the works. You know, it's starting to look that way.
I think it is. And you know what? I think all of us are alluding to this point that you say you're going to go out on a limb, because this is not a limb. We alluded to this too, but I said it. I said it a different way. Hang on a second. Let me see if I have it.
But see, Newsom's a goddamn failure too. People are leaving California en masse. I have a few friends in California who have said to me, like, again, I don't want to name all of them, but I mean, and again, they're saying to me, like, a kid, like, you know, we're really saving up to leave. Maybe next year we could leave out of here because it's so nuts. The economy's not doing well. The Democrats are running it to crap, and you know, there are people who want to leave California because of Newsom's management. Look at what he did during the pandemic.
No, you're speaking Russ's language. Russ says that being governor of California is fatal and that Newsom can't win because his tenure as governor of that state will be an albatross around his neck.
Yes.
Could very well be true. That being said, he's still the best candidate they got next to Kamala and Joe. He still is.
And so this is what I was going to say.
I take your point, but I think he's more electable than Biden. I really do.
What I was going to say and how I came from this perspective is that the Hunter Biden plea deal falling apart really was the sticking point, really was the thing that was going to, for sure, make Biden be the nominee.
Right, exactly.
And if you notice, when that plea deal fall apart, what did you notice in mainstream media? Oh, look at Biden's numbers. They're not that good. Morning Joe is starting to talk bad about Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, his age is a real problem. Then the CNN poll come out, and they're like, oh, no. Then the David Ignatius, the guy that he actually reads, come out and say Joe Biden should not run. It's because of the Hunter Biden stuff. That's what I was saying. I was like, this gives them a reason to go, yeah, this is too much, because you know what's going to come out. You know what can't come out is I'm sorry. Let me add this other part, because in the stream, what made my point of view slightly different. I felt the Hunter Biden stuff with the impeachment inquiry together, because you know what can't come out if they get his bank records and they show he has all of this money, and they're going to be like, why do you have this money? And sticking with Joe Biden with the plea deal falling apart and them not wanting to answer questions about Hunter Biden, which leads them to the impeachment inquiry, Hunter Biden is the reason he has to be replaced, because there's too much. They're too exposed with Hunter Biden. If Joe Biden is the candidate, but let's finish out this clip right here, and then finish out our commentary here.
Was that he was taking as personal expenses, but marking them as business expenses, including expenses for prostitutes, for sex club memberships, and for hotel rooms for purported drug deals. One of the
that could be work.
Disclosed in an interview that Hunter Biden owed more than $2.2 million in unpaid taxes. And that is what Hunter Biden's attorneys are saying was the unauthorized disclosure here. Now, I just got comments in from Shapley's attorney, one of those whistleblowers. They're calling this lawsuit a frivolous smear by the Biden family attorneys, and they said that they didn't overstep their boundaries in the whistleblower protections. The IRS just got back to me. They're saying that they do not comment on pending litigation. Sarah?
All right, Kara Snell, I know you'll be watching this as this unfolds further. We appreciate you. Let me ask you now a question about Hunter Biden. He has been charged with other things after his case was thrown out, and now he is suing the Internal Revenue Service, alleging that the agents illegally released his tax information and that it failed to really protect his private records. Does he have a case?
Well, under Title 26, Title 26, 6103, it's a geek section. I did this for 11 years. You are protected from disclosure of your returns. However, if there's an investigation or there's a proceeding involving your returns, the DOJ and the IRS can use it to investigate or to put forth a position. I don't know if that case has a lot of merit.
This is what I was speaking to. Do you think this high-priced lawyer doesn't know what this guy is saying? This is a strategy. This is not at all them thinking that they have merit to actually win this case. And he's stating I guess the technical legal penal code or code. But I'm just saying, it's no way that this high-priced law firm doesn't know this about what he's saying here.
They should. They're a high-priced law firm. I mean, come on. They're supposed to be professionals. In theory, if you're so high-priced, you should know what the hell's going on. In theory, at least.
In theory.
Rossi, I love that you are giving us all literally the itsy-bitsy details of the case, because you know what the codes are in the law. And obviously...
They obviously did not want to really have to cover this. You can sense like an uneasiness when they have to cover Hunter Biden. And I kind of sensed it from her, at least, that talking about it, and the other one, that the other correspondent that she went to. But let's bring up the article that matches this. I'll use PBS only so that, since it's Hunter Biden, I didn't want to use a red, blue necessarily, so staunchly red or blue. So I just I picked this one to go with. So let's bring it up here. 1 second, guys. I gotta close.
Yeah, I mean, while you're bringing that up, I'll just add. It seems to me like if the whistleblowers were called in to testify, they had no choice but to answer questions as thoroughly and honestly as possible. Which means the lawsuit really wouldn't be against the IRS, since they were called in and compelled to testify. The lawsuit, if it's violation of privacy, would have to be against the Justice Department, but of course he can't sue the Justice Department because it's his father's Justice Department, right?
That is true. That is true. And let me read just a little bit. I'm not at all going to be reading this whole thing. Hunter Biden sues IRS, says agent shared his oops. Is this not the right thing up there? Oh, shared his personal tax information. Sorry, there's a pop-up on my screen that you guys can't see. Hunter Biden sued the IRS on Monday, alleging that two agents who claimed interference in the case against him wrongly shared his personal tax information amid escalating legal and political struggles as the 2024 election looms. Now, this first sort of line speak to what I was just saying, and why we all were just saying, how he's probably going to be replaced because of this. Now, this is a case about Hunter Biden and his taxes, but you see how they have to talk about the struggles of the 2000 election. They only care about what's happening to Hunter Biden in the sense that how is it going to affect the election? That's really, and I'm not sure if his own dad only cares about him in that situation, but maybe I'm taking it too far. Let me continue with the article. The suit says the agents targeted and sought to embarrass Mr. Biden. Biden says federal whistleblowers protection sought by agents don't include the sharing of confidential information in press interviews and testimonies before Congress. The suit comes as a long-running investigation into Hunter Biden continues to unfold against a sharply political background, including impeachment inquiry aimed at his father, President Joe Biden. And it's funny, what I was just talking about, the two things, they actually bring up in this article as to this being reflecting on his father politically. And then the second point about the impeachment inquiry. All of this is being brought onto Joe Biden because of his son, Hunter Biden. And I'll bring that down. Any final sort of words on this before we got two more stories?
This is a clown. What it is it's a clown show, and we're being distracted by the fact that this is a shield in which the Democrats could potentially use to say, "Oh, well, there goes Biden. Bye-bye. Time for another Democrat pick." Because again, they want to look for somebody to replace Joe Biden. The Bidens have always had scandals flying around them, and even all of us and everyone watching live, we all saw it play out in 2020. All of us in 2020, in 2020, and that is that there's so many things in which Biden has around him that it will eventually come back to haunt the Democrats in the vote blue no matter who crowd. So you reap what you sow, and why should any of us in our right minds defend you? Because what? You're triggered by Trump? I remember saying on the show that Trump was going to come back in 2024. He was going to do so out of pride and ego. So in other words, Democrats, this is what you have. We warned you about Biden, and now you have to live with it. So good luck, but I won't fight for you.